Welcome to The Deep Dive, the podcast where we sweat the small stuff so you don't have to. From real stories to expert advice, we're here to uncover everything about hyperhidrosis and empower you to take control. Ready to dive into the world of sweat and solutions? Let's make a splash.
Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. We love to take a look at interesting stuff. And today we are really getting into something that I think a lot of people probably haven't thought too much about.
Yeah.
And this is hyperhidrosis. And we're going to be looking at a really powerful YouTube video from Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya.
Okay.
And it's really about, going beyond just the clinical definitions of what this is.
Right.
Excessive sweating, and really trying to understand what it's like to live with this condition.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that's so striking about this video is the honesty, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't shy away from like the raw, kind of the hidden struggles that people with this condition face every single day.
Yeah, they talk about feeling, so self-conscious all the time.
Yes.
Worrying about sweat stains being visible.
Right.
And can you imagine like ruining outfits?
Oh, absolutely.
Feeling anxious in social situations, feeling like, you're limited in your clothing choices. So it's got to be like, your body's betraying you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially in those moments where you want to feel confident.
And I think it speaks to, it's not just the physical discomfort, right? It's like the psychological toll of feeling constantly judged and misunderstood. And that's a really important thing,
Absolutely.
This idea of feeling judged that the video brings up.
Yes.
Because then we get into this whole other area of, assumptions that people make about people when they see sweat.
It's like they immediately think, oh, it's poor hygiene.
Yeah.
Or lack of self-care.
Right.
Did you not use deodorant?
Right, exactly.
Didn't you notice you were sweating?
Exactly. And it kind of reveals a lot about, I think, society and this obsession with appearances.
Yeah.
And this idea that, sweat is somehow bad or negative.
Right.
But the thing is that hyperhidrosis is a medical condition.
Yeah.
We're talking about overactive sweat glands.
Yeah.
And sometimes this can be triggered by stress or anxiety.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes genetics play a role.
Oh, interesting.
There are different types of hyperhidrosis as well. Some people experience it all over their body. Others, it's localized, like just in the palms of their hands or underarms.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
And, there are treatment options as well.
Oh, okay.
Ranging from, topical medications to things like Botox injections and even surgery in severe cases.
I was just thinking about, that you were talking about the science behind it.
Yeah.
And one of the anecdotes in the video that really stuck with me was this person was sharing how somebody thought that they had peed themselves.
Oh, my gosh.
Because they were sweating so much.
Yeah.
And it's just like, can you imagine the embarrassment?
It is humiliating.
And humiliation.
It's awful. And it really, highlights how quick people are to judge based on outward appearances. And I think we often forget that, everyone is fighting their own battles.
Yeah.
Some visible.
Some invisible.
Absolutely. And speaking of fighting battles,
right.
They talk about some of the coping mechanisms that people will use to manage hyperhidrosis. And one of them is wearing dark clothing.
Right.
To try to camouflage those sweat stains.
Which I get, it's practical, but it just, kind of highlights the limitations of these types of strategies. Because imagine, having to constantly restrict your wardrobe choices just to feel socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to erase a part of yourself.
It's sad.
And it doesn't address the underlying condition at all.
And they mention, carrying extra clothes and using, strong antiperspirants. But it just seems like a constant battle.
It is. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what makes this video's call for empathy.
Yes.
And understanding so powerful.
Because it's about recognizing that, hyperhidrosis is an invisible condition like many others that people are silently struggling with.
Yeah. It really is.
And so instead of jumping to conclusions, they're urging viewers to challenge those assumptions.
Yes.
Create a more supportive environment and just realize that a little compassion goes a long way.
What really resonated with you about that message?
I think it's just this idea of, making you reflect on how often do we make assumptions about others?
Based on appearances.
Based on appearances and, how can we do better?
Right.
And I think it starts with awareness, but it also, I think, requires a shift in our mindset.
Absolutely.
You need to move beyond judging outward appearances.
Yes.
And recognize that, everyone deserves understanding and respect.
Well said. So we've unpacked a lot here today.
We have.
The emotional toll of hyperhidrosis, the social stigma, the constant struggle for understanding. It really does make you think, how often do we let our own assumptions dictate how we interact with people? And what if we all just tried to practice a little more empathy and compassion in our daily lives?
Couldn't agree more.
Something to think about.
Absolutely.
Till next time.
See you then.
You've been listening to The Deep Dive because understanding sweat is the first step to thriving. Remember to subscribe, share, and connect with us on Hyperhidrosis Awareness Kenya's socials. Together, we can stay cool, confident, and unstoppable. Until next time, keep shining. No sweat.